Oh, wait. All right, can I hear me now? Well, it says the output's going out. Or no, it says the lap mic is working, but the output isn't happening. Okay, there we go. Okay, very good. Now the question is how do I, you know what, I'm just going to come back to it from time to time because I'm going to be watching stuff while I do this. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Crispy Critter, and I am going to be doing a drawing of hopefully a dream turtle table that I've been really wanting to get into for the last year and a half. It is a dream of mine to not only have a turtle, but a specific tortoise called an Aldabra tortoise. And that is a very big ask. That is a long, far cry of a dream away for me. But that doesn't mean that I can't try to at least enjoy the dream and start it up, basically. So what I'm going to be doing today is taking my time and just making a design for a tortoise table. Yes, it's going to be for an Aldabra, which means it's not going to last them very long, maybe up to like 2 years at the most, especially if I make it like an 8-foot, where are my colors? Like an 8-foot by 2-foot enclosure, which is kind of where I'm going with this. So it can be indoors because, temperature regulation and all that for tortoises is so important. And also being able to have them near me is something that I really love. Okay, so I'm just putting too much pressure on it, I think. There we go. And now that I've gotten my art tablet, my new love in life, my art tablet, I'm able to actually sketch out a plan for this bad boy, which is the most exciting damn thing in my life, because who doesn't want to draw out and design their own future enclosure for their next pet baby? I mean, that to me is just so exciting. And I'm just going to go from there. Oh. And of course it's going to look terrible right now because it's the very beginning of this, and I'm not going to make it look good until I've fleshed it out more. So if I see anybody saying, man, you think you could draw them? I can. This is just the beginning of the process. So, bleh. So, it'll be 2 feet wide by 8 feet long. It has to be about at least 6 inches, probably 8 inches. Interesting. in height so it doesn't climb out. Because that's really going to be a big deal. Tortoises can actually climb out of their enclosures. It's a very big concern. And I really don't want to have to worry about that. So, giving it a big enough lip where it's going to stay in the enclosure is very important in general. Do some soil covering. And because this is an herbivore, it likes to eat plants, which means any kind of plants that I put in here, I have to make sure that it's tortoise friendly. So, for instance, thinking about foliage, probably a fern situation. Ooh, like a 3-leaf fern situation, so it has a beautiful place to hide. Ooh. And some outgrowing. So probably a larger fern where it can climb up tall. There are dwarf ferns. There are gigantic ferns that go up to like taller than 4 feet. There are ferns that will stick to 6 to 8 inches. Honestly, again, because it's going to be a baby and it's only going to be living in here for the most delicate portions of its life, we're not going to be going too crazy with it. So I'd probably just do like a 2-foot fern. 2 feet. And then probably some bushes. A stone. Enclosure. We do a stone enclosure for them to go underneath in. Or wood. Wood isn't a bad idea either. However, I say stone because when I keep looking at different people's setups, there's always like this tiny guy, like this tiny enclosure that the tortoise will walk into, and it's always like this rugged rock design that they will use for it. But also there are wood ones. I don't know if I really want to do a wood one, because even though turtles necessarily won't chew on wood, it's not the color that represents food to them. It might be easier for them to knock over. So putting a cave enclosure a little bit lower and into the ground where they're able to dig a hole into it would probably be a lot more insulary, and also gives the tortoise the ability to just do its own thing, which can be incredibly important. So there is that. Let's see. What else? I mean, there's a lot of really good ideas for stone texture. Leaving in rocks. For them to scratch on. We need more greens for enrichment. I'd probably put in, so it's an Aldabra tortoise, which is a tropical So I would probably put, I mean, I want a banana tree in there. That would be really silly of me to do, but I want a banana tree in there. What if I did that? Let's just pretend and put a banana tree in there for a minute. It would be a dwarf, so it would get no larger than 6 feet tall, which I know is crazy. But if we made the legs on here, a good, I don't know, 12 inches, 14 inches, it could be really fun. Then I would have space, especially with our ceilings being a little bit taller than 8 feet. And then I would get bananas, which could be really cool. Oh my god, could you imagine having bananas inside? I mean, you'd have to do a moist area, which is kind of what you'd have to do for them anyway. Moisture is very important to tortoises in general. Lovely coloring. This is so dumb looking. Sketches are the worst and the best thing ever because you start, being able to flesh things out and it starts looking good, but at the same time, you're like, man, I know I can draw better than this. I know I can draw better than a kindergarten. Or you can just go ham on this. Let's see. But yeah, do some more ferns, like doing a clumping situation here, doing a rosemary bush. Just you do little bloomies on it because that's just really cute and fun and silly. Alright. And then probably doing some orchard grass. Because even though the idea of leaving this as dirt is a very fun idea, having some grazing patches along here would be really fun too. So, tortoise grass. I want a pen. No. Tortoise grass. Which is really nice because they actually do sell tortoise grass online. I can't remember the specific vendor who does it. I'll have to look it up and put it on I'll put it on the community page later. But the ability to actually give a tortoise grazing area is just a little bit nicer, I think, because you're giving it one enrichment. You're giving it the ability to graze and live more naturally in an unnatural situation. Because again, the biggest deal for me is having the ability to give my tortoise the illusion of outdoors. So when it gets older, I can go ahead and keep it outdoors more and more as much as possible, so it can thrive in its location. And I really like the idea of just giving it the best chance through mimicking nature as best as I can, which is what you want to do for enclosures for all animals in general. It's very important to get as close to nature as possible with any animal that you're working with. So now that we've roughed this out, God, it's so silly. I just want to... A bunch of bananas. It's so dumb, but I can't help it. Because I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but there is actually dwarf bunching bananas that you can grow. And they, of course, only go to 6 feet tall. And they have these beautiful red ribbons streaking through their leaves. And their leaves themselves are very decorative and beautiful. And the bananas on them are like 3 to 4 inches long. I call them baby bananas. I've had them before. They're very sweet and delicious. And of course, it's a monoculture, so it only gives off, one season of bananas and then it dies, or the mother plant dies. But the cool thing is it is rhizomal, so even though there's one shoot in the middle going up, there are these tiny little guys. Oh, I can actually show you through this. There are tiny little guys. Silly me. That will shoot up like bamboo shoots. They're rhizomal. So all these little guys are beginning banana trees, and they'll shoot up all around your mother banana tree, and they will all compete to grow as fast as possible, even while this one is growing, which is why you have to be very careful, especially in enclosure scents like this, because you will immediately get so many banana shoots and banana trees that you won't know what to do with it. So if you ever decide to put one in an enclosure or a tortoise table, which I do not recommend, because again, it will overwhelm your table so quickly, and they're so huge that it will make the situation crazy. Like, I'm crazy for trying to even think of possibly doing this, but I love it. I love the thought of having a banana tree in a tortoise table indoors. But it will take over your table pretty quickly because, again, it's rhizomal, so they'll just keep putting more and more shoots unless you like chop them down as quickly as you possibly can, which is totally fine because then you can use those banana shoots to feed your tortoise. I don't believe that you would do it all the time. It is in moderation, but whatever you don't feed your tortoise, if it's an active biome, which is your soil, active biome means that you have little guys growing in there, like, so in the soil, you have all these tiny little buggies. So, for instance, you have worms. Oh, that's a good color. You'll have your worms. And turn it. I will get you. Worms. And then you will have your isopods or your roly-polies, your pill bugs, those guys. And they eat what is called detritus. And detritus, of course, is all of the stuff that is decaying or dead in your soil. So any kind of leaves, bam. Any kind of leaves that fall to the ground. This is a banana leaf. Banana leaf. These little guys are going to come in and eat them. Nom 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 nom. And that includes any kind of bananas, leaves, flowers, berries, poop that your tortoise is going to be making, or whatever kind of animal that you put into a terrarium. That is the really cool thing Hello, you. Oh, pff, rude. There we go. How dare you? Okay, how do I recenter you, you awful, amazing thing? Hacha. Okay, that works. Alright. And of course there's going to be even your smaller guys because your buggies are going to poop, of course, which is great because that is how you get the nitrogen and the potassium phosphorus to give your plants nutrition. But the way that it becomes soluble is the poo that comes out of these guys is eaten by the bacteria. And they, of course, then do their business, and it's small enough that now it's become water soluble, and the plants eat the bacterial waste with their roots whenever you water your dirt, which is why it's so important to have bugs. Because they're basically your trash guys, your janitors, your helpers, and then your bacteria is your fertilizers and your food makers for your plants, which are then the cover and all of the food that you put in there if you do fruits or vegetables in there, which, I mean, vegetables would be pretty fun, but I wouldn't do it just because you know that tortoise that you're going to be enjoying in there is going to eat it. There will be none left for you. It will be specifically for the tortoise. Which is fine. I mean, I would love to see a little tortoise digging around for root vegetables. But you also need to make sure that they're actually, viable and it's not going to hurt your tortoise. You need to make sure that any kind of food that you are using for them is good for them. So, in saying that, let's see what the time is. Because I don't plan on being here for too long. Whatever. Oh, wait, I can do it on here. Ha. Okay, blap. Oh, I've been on here for almost 25 minutes. Okay. You know what, I might go ahead and stop here. But this is just such a wonderful idea for not only a tortoise setup, but thinking long term for learning how to do microbiomes, which is great to learn about because we're learning about making stable soil, living soil, renewable soil through dedicating a space where we can learn about what grows in the soil, how to feed the soil, which will then again help our plants grow. So for people who are also into gardening, this is a really great idea. You're learning how to animal manage and plant manage and soil manage all in one group right here, which is one of the reasons why I love animals so much, because they just, of course, incorporate into a project like this so seamlessly. But you have to love the animal that you're getting, because that would be insane of you to get an animal just so you can have a project like this, because the animal's going to live for much longer than your project. So just remember that when you decide to get your animal. It is a very integral part to a biome, which makes an environment, which makes a habitat. So, ba-bam. Fun things to think about when you are creating such a beautiful tortoise table, if that's something that you decide to do. And also, I truly recommend doing this outside if you possibly can, if you live in a climate which gives you the ability to do that, or if you have a greenhouse, which again would be amazing. And yes, you can do this with small tortoises. Again, you have to get them out of the fragile stage, which is about a year before you take them outside into like a greenhouse situation. And of course, when I'm thinking of a greenhouse situation, I'm thinking of like in the spring and the fall time, Or again, if you are in a more mild climate, then you could probably do an entire year-round situation. But other than that, just, you have to play it by ear. You have to learn the accommodating temperatures that they need as a species. But other than that, I mean, ugh, what an idea. What a fun idea. What a great soil enrichment, and just an enrichment for you and your children if that's something that you want to teach them about. Like, that's science, baby. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for coming along with me and this silly drawing situation. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night wherever you may be. Bye, guys.